Good morning and welcome to this debate presented by the City Club of Cleveland for the very important election of Supreme Court Justice of Ohio. I'm Jim Foster, Executive Director of the City Club. Our City Club has a great heritage of hosting debates for public office, and in our debates we go face-to-face, in person and in depth, and the audience does get to ask questions. Many of you thanks to those of you who are here and those listening on IdeaStream and through our webcasts and podcasts. The 60 minutes will go by very quickly, so let's proceed. This morning we are delighted to welcome Judith Lanzinger and Mary Jane Trapp, candidates for Supreme Court of Ohio. Justice Lanzinger is currently serving on the Ohio Supreme Court. She was elected in 2004 and is completing her first term. Justice Lanzinger has a degree in education, magna cum laude, from the University of Toledo, and earned her JD at the University of Toledo College of Law. The Justice also has a Master of Judicial Studies degree, only the second woman in the U.S. to earn that degree. According to her website, Justice Lanzinger is the only person ever elected as a judge at every court level: municipal, common pleas, Court of Appeals, and Supreme Court. Judge Mary Jane Trapp is currently serving as presiding administrative judge on the Ohio 11th District Court of Appeals, having won election to that court in 2006. Judge Trapp graduated from Mount Holyoke College, cum laude, and received her law degree from Case Western Reserve University. Judge Trapp has worked as a trial and appellate attorney for 25 years and is a past president of the Ohio State Bar Association. And Judge Trapp's website says she offers the people of Ohio a different background and perspective, forged in the crucible of 25 years representing working families, children at risk, and small business owners. The election for Justice of the Supreme Court of Ohio is a nonpartisan election in the general election. The rules for the opening portion of this program are: each candidate will have a total of 8 minutes for both an opening statement and a response, and it's their choice as to how they will divide the time. Again, we'll hear from each candidate twice in this segment, opening statements by each and then a response by each, with a total of 8 minutes. After these opening exchanges, we will have City Club announcements and then questions from the audience. And lastly, we will have a final question for the candidates. We're pleased to welcome, as I said, all of you today. We will proceed, as we've indicated, with an order of presentation determined by a drawing a few moments ago. Justice Lanzinger will present first.
Thank you, Jim, and many thanks to the City Club. I am so honored to be part of a tradition that extends 98 years. This is an awesome opportunity to meet with you and reintroduce myself after 6 years of being on the Supreme Court. I'm Judith Lanzinger, currently a justice on the Ohio Supreme Court, seeking re-election. It's very strange to be in the campaign process and go through the longest interview of your life when you're running in a statewide election. Many voters don't understand who the candidates are for Supreme Court. So when we have an opportunity like this to be at a forum to introduce ourselves, it's extremely important. There are 4 things that I think voters need to look at when they are determining their vote for the Supreme Court Justice in this particular race: background, experience, credentials, and record. Let me talk just a bit about my background. I come from Toledo. I'm a Toledo native, and I come from a working class family. My 2 grandfathers were coal miners from Poland. They mined coal in Pennsylvania. My father was a union carpenter. So I come from a family where I was fortunate enough to be the first to go to college and work my way through to become a teacher. After my husband and I got married 42 years ago and started our family, I was also then able to go to law school and graduated at the top of my class, to the surprise of many. I was also then able to practice law for 7 years at a corporation, then with a law firm. And that background surprisingly allowed me to run for the first time for Toledo Municipal Court in 1985. I served there 3 years, and that is the People's Court. That's the place where there is a high volume of cases, and the judges there must deal with everyday cases of ordinary people, and they must look carefully to make sure that the individuals are not treated as numbers, but are treated as unique individuals with unique problems. I also served 14 years on the Lucas County Common Pleas Court. That court is the General Trial Division. While I was there, I had over 250 jury trials, many more bench trials, thousands of cases, and that experience was absolutely the best that you could possibly have for a seat eventually on the appellate court, the 6th District Court where I served, reviewing the cases of other judges, and then the Supreme Court, where I have served for 6 years. My claim to fame is that I'm the only person who has actually been elected to every single level of the court system. My experience prepares me to do the job of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, as you know, is the court of last resort. It's the court where the most important cases are dealt with, cases of public and general interest that we choose to take in. We are individuals that must look very carefully, be judicially restrained, understand that our position is not that of the General Assembly. It is not a position on the executive branch. It is a position that says we will look at the cases as they come before us, interpret the law fairly, open-mindedly, neutrally, impartially. That is my philosophy, and that's been my philosophy on the court, every court that I've served for the last 25 years. My credentials, as you heard, also include a Master of Judicial Studies degree. And I should point out that judges do not have to have special training before they become judges. Many people don't realize that. And you do not have to get an advanced degree while you're a judge. I went back to school on scholarships and on my own time, not at taxpayer expense, to become a better judge and to learn more about judging by being aware of the best practices in other states. To do this, I was asked to teach judges throughout the nation. I've taught nationally over the last 12 years. I've been sent twice overseas to teach judges there. I think that says something about the recognition of both being a teacher and someone with experience in the judiciary. I'm also adept at computer technology and work very efficiently on the court because of that background. Finally, the record, and that is probably what distinguishes my opponent and me the most. My record includes over 400 opinions on overall in every court. 200 of those cases, though, have been as a Supreme Court justice. And of that 200, 100 of those opinions have been separate opinions, which means they have been opinions either concurring or dissenting. This shows my independence. There may be some questions later on about how judges do their job and whether certain things matter regarding the judge, whether a party identification matters. Those things we may be talking about a little later. But my independent voice has been heard on the court. I have been able to work collegially with my colleagues and persuade them of my opinion in many cases. I've been recognized by 9 newspapers to date. Those endorsements mean that I have received 90% of the individual newspapers in the state that have endorsed.